Hey, welcome back to another episode of Between the Notes podcast, our little mini series here of postcards from afar, because I am very far away from where I usually am in Auckland, New Zealand, right now with my dear friend Madeline Pierard, who I met just a few years ago when we were both in London at the Royal Opera House there, and she has been so generous to bring me to work with the Tanzos Opera Studio, which she will tell you a little bit about, and then also the Auckland Opera Studio, where I'm headed to just in an hour or so here. But Madeline, welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. So it's very informal, and we're just kind of chatting a little bit about. So why don't you first tell us a little bit about your journey of how you grew up and got into music. I think you had a musical family, and so that would be interesting. And then how you were studying, and then how you found your voice, and then how your competitions and getting to London and all that. Let's hear about that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you're the generous one.
Oh, stop.
Thank you.
No. It's been wonderful.
Pretty amazing to have you here.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, sure, I'll talk about myself.
Yes.
So I grew up in Napier, which is on the east coast.
Okay.
And per capita, it's the Art Deco capital of the world.
Art Deco? Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
It was totally flattened in an earthquake in 1931.
Oh, gosh.
Completely rebuilt. It's a big jazz and wine sort of city.
Things that I don't really care about at all.
And I grew up there and was a pianist. Had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma when I was really little.
Right.
And as a result of that, had planned all of my childhood to do medicine. Mm-hmm. And I did medicine.
Okay.
Just for 1 year. And at the same time...
In uni?
At university,
Yeah.
And I had always been a pianist and I'd sung in choirs, but I was doing a composition and musical paleography, of all things.
I'm not even sure I know what that means.
That's transcribing ancient notation. It's like
wow.
uber music nerd.
Right.
Territory.
Like, I think that lives in the world music category in America.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. And
ethnomusicology. Even.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I realised I was taking on too much, and I stopped my medical degree and focused on arts. And I still think about that quite a lot, but who knows? I may well go back there.
Yeah.
Then I travelled with the New Zealand Youth Choir to Texas, of all places.
Of all places, right?
And I'd taken a year off.
Weston is from Texas, so we have a very fond place. And we've spent a lot of time together in Texas, singing and having fun and with all the families and such.
I had a great time.
That's a great place, yeah.
So I'd taken that year off uni, and I sort of was rethinking things, and I wanted to study voice. So by that stage, I was already about 22, so I hadn't studied solo voice yet.
Right.
And I did 1 year of voice, and then applied for our biggest opera competition in New Zealand. That Dame Kiri Te Kanawa won back in the 60s, and it's now named after her. This is the first year of her sponsorship. It's about to happen again.
Oh, great. Coming up in
Quest.
July.
Exactly. And I won the competition.
After how many years of study?
And that paid for my flight for auditions and basically a first year of study.
Wow.
To the UK. So I went straight to the Royal College of Music, and from there I went on to the National Opera Studio in London. And from there, I went on to the Yetta Parker Artist Program at the Royal Opera House.
Right, and that's where we met.
So,
and you're a soprano.
I'm a soprano.
Beautiful soprano.
Was a mezzo.
That's interesting. We talk a lot about this kind of transitions, and we've done a lot of baritone to tenor, but I think you might be one of the first. We have one other, but she's much younger. So just talk a little bit about what that was like. Did you feel the pull? Did a teacher kind of push you in that direction?
Really did. In fact, I think I had some interesting guidance early on, and I think when I auditioned for the Royal College, I took Anne Truelove.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Even though I was auditioning as a mezzo, and I took the composer from Ariadne of Naxos.
Also very high, but still mezzo territory. Anne Truelove, definitely not mezzo territory.
Berlioz's Faust. So,
right.
It was an interesting one. And, earlier that year, I had a... at the New Zealand Opera School, which is a 2-week summer school here in New Zealand, we had Virginia Ziani.
Of course, yeah.
And I was singing, I was singing the Berlioz for her, and she stopped for a moment and said, "Darling, one day you will sing Violetta And she was 100%
She was right. Yeah.
She was right. And I didn't scoff. I politely smiled and said, okay. And I sort of didn't believe her.
Sure.
But
I mean, it's a great compliment, of course.
Absolutely.
Even if you're like, oh, okay, as a mezzo, but
yeah, but for her to say,
sure,
as well.
Well, we have a lot of love for Virginia Zayani in our podcast and at IU because she was there, and then also the New Zealand, New Zealand Opera Studio where I'm headed.
Auckland
Opera Studio. Thank you. Is Frances
Wilson,
right? Yeah. Was at and played for a number of Virginia's lessons and studio while she was at IU, and Weston is also an alum of IU.
Amazing.
So we have, small world here.
Yeah, she had a big New Zealand connection because that school, and was a big inspiration to me. And I remember so vividly how incredibly healthy her voice was when she must have been close to 80 when she came over, and it was spectacular.
Yeah, and after she left IU, she was down in Palm Beach for a while, and a lot of people who studied with her at IU followed her down to Palm Beach and just studied privately with her down there. And she'd, have this, just people coming in and out and working all this amazing music. So tell us. So that was what years were you in London for Yeti Parker?
Yeti Parker was 2010 to 12.
Okay.
And
right, so that was I made my debut at Covent Garden in 2010 in Carmen, and then we did Rusalka together, which is I think exactly the first time how we met, or at least we're in the same show, and then we were around for some of the things after that. You guys were there, and then when did you decide to come back here?
Well, it was sort of accidental. I had always had in my mind, because I had this wonderful trajectory, especially with winning the Song Quest, I suddenly had all this support from, philanthropic support from New Zealand. And I had always had it in my head that I wanted to be part of the cycle. Yeah. And giving back. They've made an investment in me. I want to be able to give back in the way that I can. So I'm going to come back and I was thinking, maybe look at becoming a head of a university music department or whatever. Sure. Then this opportunity popped up during COVID. Actually, I was heavily pregnant with my COVID baby. Okay, yeah. Ruby.
Sweetheart.
I know. And,
side note, we went to see the Glow Caves yesterday with the three daughters, and Ruby is 4, and Eleanor is 10 and Chloe is 12. Same age as Ava, our eldest daughter, and then Anna is just right behind. But we've decided, and we were just talking, that they're going to become pen pals, Facebook or FaceTime pals now.
They can commiserate.
Yeah, they're super sweet. But anyway, so COVID baby, so you came back.
COVID baby came back. This opportunity came up. So in New Zealand, we're very geographically removed from everywhere else. We don't have conservatoires like other bigger countries. We've got a small population. So all of the opera studies are done within the university system, which is very under-resourced because the one-to-one teaching model is not attractive.
It's very expensive for universities, indeed.
Yeah, so little by little, they've been sort of disestablishing languages, stagecraft from universities, particularly German. So there's a dame here, another dame who also won the Song Quest, Dame Malvina Major, she had a sort of two-pronged career early and then came back to New Zealand. She'd married a farmer, and she was a farmer's wife for, I think, something like 15 years. Then she came back and had a second wind and debuted at La Monnaie was her first thing back, I think. Yeah. Anyway, she has spent the last 35 years helping support and raise funds for young singers from New Zealand because they face such an enormous task to get out there, especially with the... we have always had a wonderful tradition of good teachers and good singers. New Zealanders do go far, but there are a lot of people who fall through the cracks. If you can't afford those fees that a conservatoire requires.
We were talking about it earlier, of course.
Also, a lot of them are not as well equipped to deal with the pressures, with even musicianship skills, stagecraft, languages, the general mental health pressures and the isolation that comes about as well. We all manage that in our own way, but there wasn't a lot of career preparation. And I don't want to seem like I'm dissing programs.
No, no, not at all.
I'm not at all, because
No.
there's always been a lot of really wonderful stuff happening and people doing very well. But they're just, we had this opportunity to create a program that actually built those international connections before they head over.
Right.
And we managed to get some philanthropic support from a Gallagher, which is a huge company in New Zealand. They do all the security of the Royal Opera House and the Sydney Opera House, based in a little town called Hamilton, which is where we're based. I got tasked, I applied for the job, and I got the job of building a program. So we're called Te Pai Kōkako. I'll explain the name in a sec. The Aotearoa New Zealand Opera Studio. And it's sort of based on a similar model to the National Opera Studio in London, which is sort of has partnerships with all the major opera companies there.
Right.
So we have partnerships. We have a partnership with the Royal Opera House in London. We have a partnership with Opera Australia. We have interactions with New Zealand Opera as well, and the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra. We partnered with the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra last year to have a live streamed masterclass with Joyce.
Oh yeah.
And that was amazing too.
She's wonderful. Yeah. Joyce DiDonato for anybody who's Joyce too. We were sitting around the cafeteria, but
But there are a lot of very talented singers in this country, and
for sure.
We've been going 3 years, and it's been a hard road because it was a one-man band at first. Now we have an amazing advisory board, and we have structure in place, and we're based at the university, and we offer a master's degree, which is great. And at the moment, we're only open to New Zealand singers, but that may well change in the future as we grow.
Right.
But one of the things that was really important to me was that these students were getting a taste of what the life is.
Yes.
And so we give them 2 hours of German a week. They have French and Italian as well. Two
voice lessons a week.
Two
right?
voice lessons a week.
Wonderful.
Plus at least 2 repertoire coaching sessions as well. Stagecraft every week, recitative, leader sessions.
And I can say they're all doing great. I mean, I worked with the 9 singers. I think at this point I've worked with all of them, even some alums, and they're all great. They're wonderful voices. Their instincts are great, and the knowledge and the teaching and the shepherding that they've had has been wonderful. So I think you're doing a great job with that. Tell us a little about Tanzos. Is a bird?
Well, no. Tanzos is the acronym.
Okay.
Te Pai Kōkako. So,
you said it before. Okay, yeah.
Te Pai Kōkako. So Te Pai is Māori for the perch, and Kōkako is one of our native birds that has the most extraordinarily melodious song, which you can hear if you go to our website, Tanzos.
Oh, great.
You've got a little play button on the About page. You can hear the sound of the bird. But it was gifted to us by the local iwi, Tainui, who are... the iwi is the tribe of our region, and the Waikato region is quite an important one because it's also the seat of the Māori Queen.
Right, you were saying,
yeah. It's got a lot.
Tell us a little bit about that. She sounds
she is amazing.
Fascinating.
So we had the former King Tuheitia Te Wherowhero. He had I think 7 children. And he named his successor to be his youngest daughter, who at the time was 27.
Wow.
And he had, loads of older children, including sons, and she was obviously the best choice, and she's just remarkable.
That's great. I was going to AVA when I was 27. She became a queen. Yeah. There you go.
She's pretty cool, and she's, we have an interesting political moment in New Zealand. I think a lot of people know about our former government, Jacinda Ardern, and the way that she interacted with the public. But we've moved to a slightly more right-wing government, and
we haven't. We're totally
you're neutral, and
right,
humanist and socialist as hell. But I mean, we're not quite that far. But there are a lot of
well, this happened in the UK and France, and lots of places that we're all kind of dealing with. We'll get into politics, but there's lots of factors that we're all dealing with. that I think, it's great for us to keep trudging away at art and beauty and reminding people and exposing people to opera and to vocal music. It's a beautiful campus. Like I said, we were in Hamilton for a week, more or less working there, and I got to hear a lot of recitals. So they had the structure is they do 2 recitals in their first year, right? And then role prep, role study in the second year?
Yeah, they prepare three full roles. And so they work on the roles for the whole 18 months.
Okay.
But they're only assessed on them at the very end.
I see.
We don't have a fully staged production, but we do opera galas and productions throughout the year.
I love the idea that that you, because it's a studio, but you still get a degree. See, we don't have that in the U.S. In the U.S., typically you do your undergrad and then a master's and then maybe a performance certificate and then maybe get into, or like AVA. AVA gives a performance certificate that they say would be the equivalent to a master's in fine arts, but it doesn't really count. So I had to go back and get my master's in vocal pedagogy, which I'm really glad that I did because I learned a lot about the voice and stuff that I didn't kind of know before, especially about how it works, just because we can't see it and we kind of hear it, but there's all kinds of factors in there. So you tell us a little bit where you're going to the airport tonight in a few hours. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what you've got going for the next week or two.
Oh, so, coming over here, we left in 2020, at the end of 2021, we came over here, and the single greatest thing for me personally about this role of establishing this school was that I was required to continue performing internationally. So I actually ended up last year doing too much.
I saw that on social media. I don't know that I would say it was too much, but I saw that you were a very busy woman.
Too much for trying to run a studio with a staff of 2.
Right.
It was a lot. And this year I'm kind of taking a step back, but I'm slightly worried about that. So I'm trying to make sure I'm up to scratch, I guess, making sure that I'm aware of what's going on.
You got my vote because I heard you sing Tosca. And what else did we work on just for the fun? I think we did a lot of Tosca. And anyway, it was great. It sounded amazing. Yeah, it was super fun.
So I'm heading over to a little school for professional singers. It's called Stimme, Leib und Seele, and it's in Großgemein, which is about 20 minutes outside of Salzburg. And it's run by an Australian, Jennifer Condon, who established it in 2020. Right. And every month she holds a 1-week-long masterclass where she invites...
every month of the whole year? Or just in the summer? That's fascinating.
Yeah. There was a big gap last year, but 2020, 2021, and this year it's full on.
It's great.
And she generally employs a singer that she's worked with or knows or admires, and they essentially choose a team. So they'll have a musical coach who they know well, and a stage or bodywork specialist, and then Jennifer also works on the stuff, and it's in this extraordinary house in the mountains.
Wow.
Very picturesque, and you spend the time having sessions with all of these people, but it's always people who are from the music staff of the A houses in Germany, or some of the UK coaches come over, but the courses are all for different levels, generally from straight out of a young artist program or just before a young artist program to late career. So there have been courses that Adriana Pichonka did one on singing through menopause, for instance.
Oh, that's great. We have a whole episode on that where we had...
you do?
Yeah, we have... well, it's actually kind of... one of my mentors for the Masters in Vocal Pedagogy, Dr. Kathy Price, she did her whole dissertation on menopause and how it affects. But we did... It's fascinating. We did... It's a very... so we went through... puberty and adolescence, puberty, and then how the hormones when you're pregnant, how that affects your voice, and then all the hormonal shifts through menopause or perimenopause and menopause, and then even later. Then that's fascinating.
It's a very wide world too, because it affects every person in such a different way. Yeah. And
there's a male version. I think it's called andropause or something like that, which it's not so severe, but anyway, it was totally fascinating to hear about that, and so that's a very important topic. Not to go on a tangent here, but I just want to say that we often, women in their roles in lots of professional arenas have been always had to kind of fight for their place. Whereas I feel in opera, we need strong, wonderful women to sing the Toscas and Contessa and all these roles forever. So I think it's one of the first places where women were really given respect and appreciation for their ability way before in the workplace of a lot of other kind of arenas. And go strong women. As the dad of 2 daughters and as the mom of 3 daughters, that's great. Well, so that's super exciting. What's on the what's kind of coming ahead for Tanzos and for you guys? What are you excited about in the next, say 6 months to a year?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm excited about this trip. I was based in London for the majority of my career and really focused my work around the UK and Australasia. Yeah. And didn't really touch on Germany. Yeah. And had always wanted to. Sure. And so that's kind of also the purpose of this. I mean, there's one of the other courses, just to let you know, because I think it's so sweet, that John Tomlinson, the wonderful bass, ran a course called Operatic Shakespeare, which Latonia Moore attended.
Yes. Yeah, that's she wonderful.
Loved, it really is a school for all stages of the career. So we have a few of our alumni who are wanting to go there as well. And so it's really important for me to put my money where my mouth is. To do the thing so I know that I'm giving people good information,
Absolutely. And you have a graduate of this program who is currently at the Young Artist Program in Covent Garden.
That's right, yeah. So this is an historic first.
Oh, great, good.
So we have a number of graduates actually who have gone on to Young Artist Programs, the National Opera Studio in London, and particularly the Yetta Parker Artists Program. So historically, that's never happened for a New Zealander who hasn't studied outside of New Zealand. So we know we're doing something right.
Yeah, of course.
And we've only been going 3 years, so we're pretty happy with that outcome.
It's amazing, really.
And that's Emmanuel Fonoti Fuimauno, and he's at the moment singing in rehearsals for La Bohème.
That's great.
For Freddie. So, and he's got a couple of shows as Don Ottavio.
Yeah, you were saying.
And we have several going off to Masquerade in Florence and also the National Opera Studio in London.
Wow.
But for me, I've got a few things going on this year, but one of the what I'm most looking forward to. So I've done about 35 performances of the 4 last songs.
Oh, yes.
And it's always been, I did my debut at Rome, Teatro dell'Opera in Rome. With the ballet. So there's a wonderful choreographer, he's English but mostly based in Europe, David Dawson, who spent 6 months looking for a soprano who was prepared to sing the 4 last songs at the Court Mazur Jesse Norman Tempi, but he actually takes them slower. So I had to learn some pretty extreme breathing.
I was about to say, right? You'd be like...
The double rib expansion, when you take the quick swing straight after the intake of breath, it just extends the...
How interesting.
It was Nelly Merichoyu who told me about that.
Weston could benefit from that because he is in Central City, which is in Colorado, which is about 8,500 feet above sea level. So he is really getting his breath support all going and taking extra walks and steps in order to kind of help build that. But we miss you, brother. We miss you. It's very lovely over in this part of the world, and hopefully you can come over here. He's a wonderful singer and teacher as well. But it kind of in wrapping up, is there anything else that you wanted to hit on that you think would just be kind of like, again, the idea of this podcast is to try and tell our listeners what we wish we knew when we were younger and studying. What would your If I, what is your idea on that? What did you wish you knew as a young singer?
I wish I'd known that this job has many, 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 many different iterations. And, I came from a place where, a place where we are sort of sold the idea that if you don't make it to the stage of the Met or Royal Opera, then you can't call yourself a successful opera singer, which is kind of bizarre. One of the cool things is that opera is really making having a big resurgence in this country, primarily because of the movie about Penny Patti.
Oh yeah.
Tena, My Name is Patti, which is has been really popular, and there's huge excitement about opera, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
And I think people don't understand. I mean, I think they must understand that is such an unusual, a rare situation, and that you can have a job in this industry which is every bit as rewarding and as high an artistic level without it being one of those main houses,
Sure.
And also there are ways to have this career where you are not just singing, and actually it sort of feels more humanly responsible to do that in a way, especially if you have a family. But and I never know whether if I hadn't had a family, would I have ended up doing much more than I do? But I feel quite well balanced.
Yeah, I should say so.
Yeah.
And kind of like we were talking about on the drive up here. Yes, up here from Hamilton, right? From Auckland. So we were driving, Madeline's husband, Michael, was driving, and he and I were talking about this, and we were talking, as we've talked about in this podcast, with the Renee Fleming kind of comments about, similarly to what you're talking about, this idea that every undergrad who studies vocal performance, it is just assumed that their dream is to go to the Met, and a lot of people it is, and that's great. But having worked at Westminster Choir College, where there are professional choral scholars and there are conductors and choral conductors and all these other kinds, there are wonderful, as you said, many iterations of having a career within the arts and within music and within vocal music. And just because there's also, and we were talking about our children learning piano at the time, and Michael's a string violinist and conductor, but also had done a lot of teaching of violin. And it's that not only is it just a gift for a performer to give to an audience, but it's also a gift for the musician and the singer to give to themselves and their family. We all are, I don't know how much your children do with music, but I mean, ours have done a bit. Ava certainly has done a lot of piano. And for sure, it teaches, like sports, but, nobody breaks a knee usually. And, people don't get banged up doing this, but it's a way to be a team player and to learn how to take the lead if you have the melody, or be supportive if you have the harmony, and all these other kinds of life skills that you're taught and learn at a very young age, that then, if one does choose to get an undergrad in music or in singing or in voice or any of the arts, you can always pivot later. My sister did it. She pivoted and got a master's in marketing, and now she's working as the marketing and box office person. I don't think she does the box office anyway. She's moving up, right? But she's using her creative skills that she learned as a singer to do all these other kinds of things. And I think, let's just say here for arts education in schools. Yeah. We were talking about that a little bit the other day too, just about how, we wish that there could be even more opportunities for kids in schools to learn art, not just music history about Bach and Handel and all these guys, but actually, I'm not saying they need to learn how to read music, but wouldn't be bad. But just this idea of learning how to be expressive, take a feeling which is in someone, and learn how to express that in a way, whether it be drums through rhythm or singing, which is probably the easiest way, because we all kind of, most of us can kind of do that. But I just think that it's really great, and it'll help the world, as it were, to just learn how to think and express and be more empathetic, and yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I've sort of had a baptism of fire in that way, having gone from being a completely full-time performer to a manager of philanthropy, student well-being, donor stewardship, and a big number of staff and logistics within, and also navigating the tertiary academic system. All of that, and all of the politics. I mean, it's hard. And as a person, especially as an artist, you can be quite sensitive, but not sensitive as in we don't like. It's hard for us to take criticism. That worries me less than disappointing or upsetting people.
Right.
Hugely. So, and when you're in a position where you're actually making decisions that affect people's, where people think they really should be in a position, and you haven't given them that position, then that's when the tricky things happen. But the wonderful thing about the premise of this role having the professional aspect, as in me having to continue singing professionally, is that I have this wonderful advantage, which is that none of the decisions that I'm making about the course have anything to do with me.
Right.
And I have this, it's a very liberating feeling being able to totally focus on the purpose, because I have my ego is attached to my singing. And now my neuroses are not attached to that, which means I'm a lot more free in my singing.
Absolutely.
That's not really what you were talking about, really. But
no. I think that is a great thing, and I feel so much on the same page about what you're saying about giving back, because the New Orleans community, whether it's Loyola University, where I did my undergrad, where Irene is now teaching, or the New Orleans Opera, where I made my debut when I was a freshman. I did not a whole season, but I had 2 of the 4 shows. I was a messenger. So I was the messenger in Sanson and Dalila, and I was the messenger in Aida. So that was my messenger season. And then they were so generous to just give me roles just about every year that I was there. And then continue to bring me back when I was away. And Amici, who is the group of it's not just a ladies group, but it's kind of like part of the Women's Opera Guild, and they would raise all the money for the scholarships for the Met competition, and you take that money and invest it into summer programs or lessons or coachings or whatever. And anyway, I remember going back and singing fundraising concerts for them to raise the money for the singers that were coming 15 and 20 years later. And it's so rewarding. And I think that we could all use, I don't say we could all, but the world could use more of that. People giving back to the communities and the schools. It doesn't have to be, writing big checks, but doing what you can to support the programs and get the word out. Even just attending the performances.
Big time.
When a young singer is on the stage and they see a nice crowd, it makes you feel like, okay, wow, let's step up and do this. I'm not saying that if there are fewer people, it means less, but you just know that you're getting a bigger kind of like investment in the work that you're going to do. If they've got 50 people or 100 people who are going to go out and say, oh my gosh, I just saw this really wonderful recital, then that's going to say like, oh, well, maybe when someone sees a poster or a flyer or something online for another recital, someone who may not have gone before is like, oh, let's go have dinner, and then we'll go hear this, and it'll be really nice. So, well, anyway, I know you've got a plane to catch, so thank you so much for having me here. Thank you for being a wonderful host. We've had some wonderful meals and wonderful working sessions with the singers. And Weston, we're saying hi from New Zealand, from Auckland this time. And to everybody out there, thank you so much for joining us. And I'll be back in the U.S. in a week. So we'll be bringing you lots of fun, interesting content. I know Weston did an episode with our friend and colleague Ashraf, who's singing out there. But we've got lots of interesting things coming up, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much, Maddie.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on Between the Notes. Make sure you hit that subscribe button.
And join us next week for more behind-the-scenes stories, laughs, and operatic gold coming your way.